Hey everyone, what is going on? As you can tell by the title of this video, we're talking about my favorite camera to use in 2021 when it comes to image quality and professional work, and that is the GFX100S. Now, probably a lot of you are thinking, but why the GFX100S, Bobby? There was the Sony Alpha 1, the Canon R3, the Nikon Z9, and so many other cameras. And you're right. There were so many great cameras in 2021. But the GFX100S spoke to me in many ways, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But before I do want to thank Fujifilm Singapore for allowing me to test drive this camera for a longer period of time and lenses. Having said that, my thoughts only. No money has changed hands. They have no say in the content that I make. They have no idea I'm even making this video. Okay, I'm just wanting to share this information with you guys. So with that, my thoughts only. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I know this is a private channel of mine. It's a small channel and we're kind of growing it, but any click on that subscribe button definitely helps me out a lot. And also, if you like this video, if you could like it, that would be great as well. And by the way, thank you guys for the comments and the support thus far. It really does mean a lot to me. Okay, let's get into why I like the GFX100S. And for you GFX owners out there, you probably know exactly what I'm going to say right now. It is the image quality. This 100 megapixel sensor is absolutely awesome when it comes to dynamic range, detail, just so much information there if you want to manipulate your exposure, highlight, shadows. You have all that there to play with, and the cropping power. You know how important that is when you're doing client work and they say, oh, can you crop here? Can you show us some more detail here? And I can say, yes, I can, because I have enough information off that image to go in close if I need to without sacrificing detail or clarity. And that is a big deal for me, at least for the work that I do, which is portraiture and, you know, lifestyle photography, fashion, watches, things like that, cars. All those things come into play, and it really does make a difference with a 100 megapixel camera. It doesn't mean you can't do it with a smaller sensor. You can, but it does make it a lot easier. Also, another thing I like about the GFX100S is it records 4K video. That's right, I'm recording this entire video with the GFX100S and the 45-100, and the 4K video is crisp. It is beautiful, as you can see by the image quality. Now, it's not perfect. You're not gonna get that 120 frame rate that some people love to get, that epic B-roll slow motion. You're not going to get it with this camera system, but for talking head things like I'm doing here, or for the average video, it works beautifully. And you've got high bit rates. You've got a lot of the frame rates that you want. You can do it in 4K, as I mentioned, 1080. It looks fantastic. Another reason why I like this camera, the ergonomics. To me, this is a fantastic feeling camera, and it's one of the better built Fujifilm cameras on the market, including the X-T4. I believe this is one of the best ones. It feels robust, solid, the buttons feel good, the dials feel good. There is room for improvement. There is room, but Fujifilm has done a tremendous job with the GFX100S thus far, and it's the size of a full frame camera. So if I need to throw this in my bag, it's not like the GFX100, which was massive. This 100S is a much smaller footprint and very easy to take with you. Now the lenses are heavier, mind you, it's medium format, but still, this is probably a very compact, probably one of the most compact medium format cameras with the feature set this camera does have. IBIS, mechanical shutter, you know, a display that you can flip around. All these things come into play that does make it a very viable package altogether. Okay, another reason why I like this is the IBIS. 100 megapixels, you're gonna need IBIS. Trust me, camera shake, shutter shake, all that comes into play. IBIS does make a big difference, and Fujifilm's IBIS system is one of the better systems out there. I've tried them all. This is one of the top 3 in my personal opinion. And the fact they were able to shrink the IBIS mechanism and put it inside the 100S is an engineering feat, if I may say so. Another reason why I like this camera, battery life. Battery life is great for me. I take this on a shoot, maybe I go through a battery, max 2, and you know, with medium format, you don't spray and pray. You actually are very specific in the shots that you need to take, and the GFX100S in terms of battery life works very well for me. Another reason, phase detect autofocus. We saw this in the GFX100, and it's here in the 100S, and no camera, in my personal opinion, you may disagree with me, but no camera in 2021 and now 2022 should have contrast based. You miss out on so many of the great features that camera systems have. Eye tracking, body tracking, face tracking, car tracking, bird tracking, all that comes into play with phase detect. Contrast-based systems try, but they haven't gotten to the level that we're seeing with phase detect systems. And to me, I'm glad it is in this camera system. But there is an asterisk to that, and I'll talk about that in some of the areas where I wish there was improvements on, but we'll get to that. Anyway, another reason why I like this camera also is mechanical shutter. I test a lot of different lenses for reviews, and I like to test it on the 100S because I want to see the resolving power of some of these lenses. How does it resolve 100 megapixels? And you know, there are other medium formats cameras out there that use leaf shutters. So you have to rely on an electronic shutter that is very slow readout, and it doesn't work that well. But with a mechanical shutter, you have no reason to worry, and it works beautifully with a variety of different lenses. Even lenses that are designed for the GFX system that are not from Fujifilm, you can use them that way, and it works great. Okay, I've said all that. What are some of the things I wish were improved on this camera system? My biggest gripe, okay, is the menu. To me, this menu is convoluted. It's very hard to navigate. It is not really user-friendly. So if you click on an item, there's no information button to tell you what it is or what that setting does. And even if you go to the manual, sometimes Fujifilm doesn't really explain it that well. So you got to really dig deep into Google. So that's one of the issues that I have with it. Plus, it's not touch interface, and the font is a little bit dated. I think this could be updated in 2022, in my personal opinion. Another thing that I wish was improved on this camera system is having a flip-out rotatable display. There's pros and cons to this. I know I've heard both sides of the story, but for me, I've gotten used to that using other camera systems out there, and it does make a big difference, even for video. You see this camera that I'm using right here for video, the GFX100S with the 45-100, guess what? I have to use an external monitor because it doesn't flip out rotate so I can see myself. It'd be nice to have that, but you know, that's on the wish list for possibly another camera coming to the market. Another thing I wish was improved on this camera system is the EVF when it comes to manual focus. Now, 3.69 million dots is more than plenty for most people out there, all right? Even the Nikon Z9 has a 3.69 million dot EVF, and it's beautiful. But when it comes to manual focusing or low light focusing, or let's say you are trying to focus peak or magnify into a subject that you want to nail focus on, you really see it start pixelating and breaking up, and I wish that was a lot better, and possibly with the 5.76 that would be improved, okay? And another thing, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to autofocus, I'm glad we had phase detect, but here's where the asterisk comes into play. Inconsistent autofocus. Some lenses perform better than others. Case in point, the 45-100 that I'm using right now to record this video, eye tracking. It's locked onto my eye, right? But if I go to the 110 f2, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. 81.7, hardly see the eye tracking. 120, not so much. So it is a little bit inconsistent. Hopefully Fujifilm can fix this with a firmware update to update the lenses or the body so we get more of this consistency through the system, because it would make it a lot easier. Not to say that you need eye tracking, it's not a deal breaker, but it is nice to have, and it is a feature that's there, so why not maximize it, right? Right, okay. So those are some of the issues that I have with the camera. Some of them are hardware, some of them are firmware related, but overall, to me, why I picked the GFX100 system, I kept picking up this camera over and over and over again, was the image quality. I knew what I was going to get out of this camera. I knew the type of quality, that 100 megapixels, those colors that I like. I knew how I could manipulate the image to get to where I needed to be, and it was consistent. Clients enjoyed the images coming from this camera. I enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed using it. It's relatively easy to take around with you. You know, the lenses are heavier, but you can throw it into a backpack and you can run and gun. So it does work well in that regard. And that's why I'll continue to use it into 2022. I mean, who knows what's going to come out, right? But I would say for a lot of the lifestyle photography that I do, it works well. If I'm going to fast action, I'm not going to use this camera, okay? It's not the be all end all cameras. It's great for certain things, but when you know its strengths, you can maximize this camera, and it is awesome what comes out of it. Okay, so those are my thoughts on the GFX100S. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is this a camera you're looking to pick up? Do you have one, and do you agree with me or you disagree with me? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. With that, guys, subscribe to the channel if you can. Like this video, helps me out a lot. Take care, stay safe, and I'll chat to you soon.